stuck here. The cops won't bother me. Alright, squids, I got a little bit of a surprise. So I literally just picked this thing up. It's a genuine Buddy, and I got it cheap, but I just checked the oil too, so I haven't really tested it. It needs some things, so this is gonna be the ride that we're gonna figure out what exactly is wrong with it. And these mirrors suck. Man, mirrors are weirdly bad. Anyways, let's go for a ride. I'm gonna pull into this high school just so we can have a look physically at the bike. Alright, this bike has got a nice center stand, very easy. I'm gonna turn it off. Definitely has a little bit of an idle problem, but I think I'm gonna be able to clean it up. This is a 2007 genuine Buddy. What I like about this one, it's got a kickstart and electric start, but it also looks extremely cute. It's reminiscent of the old Vespas, but it's got some this is, by the way, a Taiwanese bike like Kymco. Generally they do cost more than Chinese ones and the quality is higher, but there's a big difference between a Japanese bike and this one. This one I can tell right away that the quality is a lot worse. It really is. Apparently the motors are good, transmissions are good on it. It's got 10-inch wheels, so it's a lot less stable than the SH150. And riding with it, you can tell right away that it's very unstable. I do like this big rack here, especially this thing, so I can grab it and just kind of move it around. It's got a center stand and, look at this, a kickstand. So that is awesome. That's a great little feature. So I got this because I was curious about these genuines and I wanted to see what I could do to get this going. It is carbureted. That's one thing I don't like. It's got the 10-inch wheels. They're okay. It's got a front disc rotor. It's been rashed over here. It's got the kickstand. The suspension seems to be a little bit off, but we'll find out once we start riding it. There is some rust in the exhaust there. So this bike has not been ridden very much, so we're going to have to kind of fix it up. The controls definitely feel a lot cheaper. The plastic feels a lot cheaper than Japanese bikes. I do like this really big pocket here, and it has a shopping bag hook and a flat board and there's not a lot of space, so this bike physically is much smaller than the SH150, and it really feels like it, even though it's about the same size engine. Let's open up the seat. So the way it opens, I don't like it. It's like a very odd kind of position mechanism for opening this, but I like that you don't have to remove the key. You can tell it hasn't been used in a while. The seat is relatively comfortable. It's small. Gas tank is here. It's a better thing than the Japanese bikes. I like that it's plastic and a decent one. Very big trunk. This is a pretty decent sized trunk here, and that's something I like about this because I can fit a lot of stuff here. What's this? Oh, that's how you get to the carb. Look at that. Very easy to access the carb. It looks like they forgot the screw on here, which I don't really... Oh, actually, it doesn't even... We'll have to look at it. So remember, this is my first genuine bike. I had a Kymco, and it's the same sort of thing. Let's put this back. I like that it's like deep. Let's put the kickstand. Handlebars are very narrow handlebars. All of this is pretty cheap. I think I need to lubricate everything. Let's go for a little ride. Let's start it up first. You do have to give it a little bit of gas to kind of get going, which is kind of odd, but that's just the carburetor. nature of this thing. We do have a full tank of gas, but look at this. No way of clicking the trip meter. There is no trip meter on this thing, but it looks very retro. It looks very cute, and I think that's the appeal of this particular bike. Let's go for a ride and see how she behaves. This definitely feels like it's for taller or shorter people. I'm going one way. Okay, let's go through here. It looks like when it was dropped, my front is actually aiming this way, so I need to adjust my forks. The forks have probably been tweaked on it. The seat is definitely not very comfortable for very long periods. I kind of feel like it's just a little bit too short, but it feels pretty decent. I do like this pocket here too. So there are some really big benefits of having this thing. It rides pretty smooth. There is some issues that I know about it, but this thing is just so cute that you can get away with a lot of stuff. It does stumble if you give it full gas. You know, that's I believe I need to clean the carbs on this thing. I think the guy might have done some work. I don't even know if it's had an oil change. The oil seems to be okay. Yeah, I definitely need to adjust the front, because if you can, it should be this way, and it's aiming slightly this way, and it's very bumpy. Very bumpy. Yeah, I mean, the mirrors are just all over the place. It's pretty fast, and the thing with the small wheels, oh, that was a little bit of a stutter. The thing with the small wheels is that it's really flickable, and I'm not even sure I like the amount of flickness that it has. It's stumbling a little bit too, so I think that's a carburetor issue, but it could also be the fact that it hasn't been ridden very much. Mirrors, there's something up with the front. It's definitely crooked, so we'll have to figure out what the hell is wrong with it. Mirrors are just useless, absolutely useless. Let me go in here. Brakes are terrible. Wow, these are terrible brakes, man. These are terrible, absolutely terrible brakes. So the quality of this thing is just so much worse than Japanese bikes. And you know, I'm not trying to put down Buddy, the genuine company Buddy, but I kind of feel that Kymco and Genuine are at the same level, and then you have the Japanese on top. I think there's other makers that make good bikes, but man, yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like as good as a Japanese bike by far. There's actually like a big, you know, a lot of these reviews that I do and talks is that I get these inexpensive bikes and I fix them up, and I'm going to fix this thing up. I'm glad that it's working. That's the thing that I really like, and I'm also glad that it's a very easy bike to ride and to fix. But I'm kind of like, look at that, if I give it a full amount of gas, it does stumble. You know, I think that's definitely a carb issue. Look at that, full gas. I kind of would like to go on the highway and see, but I don't want to go yet. You know, I kind of knew that the fit and finish of this thing would not be super good. So the way the fork should be is this way, and they're this way, and it just takes a little bit. It just takes a little bit to kind of throw you off. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but it definitely feels that there's something wrong with it. And also another thing that's odd, if you look down at my feet, there's hardly any space. So they made the scooter extremely like short, and I think that looks good. especially if you're off the scooter. But if you have general proportions like a human, like just a male, I think the proportions of this bike are a little bit on the short side. You know, it definitely feels that a 10 diameter inch wheel is way more fun than the large wheels, but I feel a little bit less safe on it. The little wheels give it some pep, give it a little bit more je ne sais quoi. That definitely feels like a super maneuverable scooter. But the problem is that if you hit a pothole on this thing, it is just absolutely, it just jars you. And I had bikes with small wheels before. They kind of send you all over the place. The one thing I do like is how cute it looks, and this part, it just looks like an old school Vespa. I don't know, it's kind of loud, but it does sound like very clownish, but it's a lot louder than my C3. Just to tell you how bad the quality of these compared to a Japanese bike, you see the indicator, there's actually a hazards button here, which is kind of nice, but there's a white painted section here, and if I rub it, it actually comes out. Look at that, it's coming out. I have no idea. That is kind of crazy that on that side the paint is coming out. How do these bikes handle in some back roads? Well, I can tell you straight up, even without riding too many back roads, that this bike does not handle that well. And a lot has to do with just the tiny little wheels. But hey, at least I'm going faster than this Tahoe. Me buying these little things, what I like doing really is showing you guys these bikes, because oftentimes you don't get guys that really ride stuff, and you just see these little videos by the first year, you know, it's always the 2020 model version, and that's it. You never hear back about it. But this is a 2007, so it's held up considering the age. But it does feel that if it was a Japanese bike, it would be in much better shape. Like, the Japanese bikes are just so much more solid. So solid compared to this. This bike is so bare. I mean, you would think that they would put like a button to do a trip meter here. Look at this. When I let go of my hands, look how much that shakes. You cannot let go of the handlebar on this. You see like it twists to the right, and that is, oh, that's a nice Honda Element over there. It's kind of cool. It feels very Italian, and I think that's the idea behind this, is making a Lambretta Vespa clone from Taiwan. These Taiwanese, man, they're clever ones. Almost 60. So it does 55 easy. 60 maybe downhill, slightly downhill. And you know, I just parked it, put it on the stand, and it died on me. But I think it'll start right back up. There we go. You know, it just keeps, there's definitely a carburetor issue on this thing, but it's, right now it's running. You can hear it spin, and it does smell like gas is kind of, I think there's definitely some carburetor issue, because I smell some fumes. And normally on a bike that's running rich, there's some gas that will kind of pour a little bit from the exhaust if it's running rich, and I believe that this one's running rich, so I'm going to be looking at that. The motor though is nice and quiet on it. It's not loud. It doesn't seem to make, it doesn't seem to be burning oil, but it does seem like there's gas coming out, or it seems like there's, yeah, like it's definitely seen better days. It's got rash here, you know. This is definitely somebody that didn't really take care of this bike very much, but it is cute. It is a cute bike, and I think I like that about it. Look at that. even a high beam, it definitely affects the performance. The guy has dropped it a couple of times. Look at that. Rear brake, front brake. It definitely feels like this guy did look at that. It just died on me from revving. That's definitely a carburetor issue, and I'll be looking at that. But I bought this to kind of like fix, and if I like it, I'll keep it. I do like the amount of storage in here, and I like this rack. I mean, this is nice that I can just grab it and move it, and physically it's just so much smaller that it's very nice to kind of move around. The downside is that these forks have been tweaked, so I kind of need to figure it out. A lot of times you can just kind of do this, but kind of like what you do on a bicycle, but I need a little bit more power to do that. I'm going to have to be cleaning it up, and that's going to be the next few videos on the channel, is going to be me trying to fix this thing up and, you know, repainting things, cleaning it up. I do like to get these vehicles rehomed, and because, you know, I do have the this SH. I hate this like way of opening up the seat. It's so weird. So I have my bag here, and there's the carburetor. There is some moisture on the carb, but I think it might have been when I was filling up the gas. This is really, really dirty in here. I'm gonna have to look it over. It doesn't feel like it's too bad, but when you get a bike, you should always spend some time to why doesn't this go in? See, these are things that annoy the hell out of me. This thing is deep, and I also like that it's cute. It's a cute scooter. Genuine Buddy. It's definitely seen better days, but I think I can revive it.
Isn't this incredible? What more could two single guys ask for?
How about some food? I swallowed a big June bug when we were driving.
I'm not really hungry.